What I want to do is I'm going to show you a couple different techniques or a couple different processes to strengthen these corners. So on your picture frame, all we're doing there is gluing these 45s together. And what happens is that you just simply have a butt joint right there, and that can be a little bit fragile. Now on this 2-inch material, or it's 1.5 inch thick, it's a little bit different. We probably have a little bit more strength, but if you go something thinner than that, the 3/4 inch material, you have a kind of a weak joint. One way to increase that length or increase that strength is using a biscuit cutter. A biscuit cutter is this machine right here, and what we're doing is simply take and we cut in an oval shape with this machine right here, and then install this little biscuit on the corners. Now these biscuits come in different sizes. Here are some of the smaller ones for smaller projects, and actually they're an R3. I'm not exactly sure what R means, if that has to do with the radius, but I also have some R2s, and I assume that there's an R1. So there's some really small biscuits right there. But again, just simply to try to reinforce the corner just a little bit by putting some material in the corner that crosses over into both parts. Okay. We also have a biscuit cutter that incorporates the router. I've got a ball bearing right here, all right, and then I can cut in with a particular radius using a router, and I've got large biscuits right here that we can use. So I just want you to be aware of, we can use a biscuit cutter. We're going to use a little bit different process with dowels. Okay. On this particular project, what we're going to do is we're going to go through the top piece into the bottom piece, and we're going to strengthen this joint using a dowel. And this dowel here happens to be, it's a hardwood, it's a birch, so that's a hardwood. All right, so it's not like a pine or a fir, so it is a hardwood even though it's white. All right, but we're going to take the screw out. What I normally start out with a screw down through, and that would hold fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But just to get rid of this point right here where I either put in a plug or a button, I decided I was going to make it a little bit better than that. And then when we get all done, we'll sand this thing down, and it will be all wood. And I think it'll just simply look better. Will it be stronger? No, it's not going to be stronger than what this screw is. This screw is going to be, that would be very strong. Would I see it? Will it take away from it? I don't even know if it would do that. All right. A lot of times the picture's held up at eye height and you don't see the top, nor do you see the bottom. So the screw's probably not a bad thing, all right? I'm just going to show you another process in which I can use a dowel, okay? Now the way I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to shut the camera off, we're going to do that, I'm going to use a dowel jig. On this dowel jig, you might be able to see it. I've got different sizes of dowels that I can use. All the way, just hold it there, half, 5/16 to quarter, half, 5/16 to quarter, and that corresponds to the holes up here. All I want to do with this dowel jig is simply hold this jig square on the wood while I drill it down through there, okay, so that I don't shoot off to a side. And so that's what it does for me. It gets me a spot, and I can just drill down through there very easily. All right, so this is 2-inch material. I'm going to mark off 1 inch from the outer edge, and I'm going to put my dowel jig on, and when I get all set up, I'll set my dowel in here just like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure over 1 inch, and you have to simply determine the size that would work out best for you. I've also got to bring that across the top. Once I've established that, then I'm going to take my 5/16 and I'm going to turn it over so that most of my, come up here on top and take a look at that. So most of my wood is right there at top, and I clamp this down, okay? So there's my dowel jig in place, ready to go, okay? All right, cut. I've got the 5/16 hole directly over that line, and I'm going to drill down through that. Okay, notice that just kind of fits in there, nice and easy. Out every once in a while, try to clean the hole out. hole drilled. So now I'm going to take the dowel jig off, and I'm going to see how deep this goes. Boom, and I can hold it up, and that's not bad. Okay, so I'm going to go over to the bandsaw. I'm going to cut myself just a little bit more right there. Now notice what I'm doing. I'm doing all this after the frame has dried. Okay, all I'm doing now is putting this in for a little bit extra strength. So I'm going to go over to the bandsaw. I'm going to cut this. And when I put this in, there's a couple different ways you probably could do that. And they actually make dowels that have little grooves in them, so that you get glue all the way to the bottom of the hole. But when I put this in, I'm just going to simply twist it with the idea that and send it into the hole pretty slow. But the whole idea is that it gets glue all the way to the bottom of the hole. Okay, I've got that in there. It's glued this part and this part together. I'll get a wet sloppy rag to wipe this off. Once I get done, I'm going to sand that down. This should be done before it's burned, so now I can come back and reburn it. And when it's reburned, I've got that corner supported. I'll do that to all 4 corners, and it will be just a little bit more of a professional look rather than having the screws on the holes. Okay.